This was a fun photo to take and a very different photo from what I usually take if you have been following the blog for any length of time at all. And I have my friend Gina directly to thank for this picture because I didn't even know that this would be an option. So I think I shot this on a Thursday and she came the previous Wednesday, like the day before at work. She said, "Hey, do you have your camera with you? Because there's some snails out on the sidewalk." And I said, "No, I actually don't have my camera today." And she's like, "Well, if you want an interesting photo, you should check out those snails." So the very next day I brought my camera and I didn't know how big of snails we were talking about. So I brought my set of close-up filters and man, it was really cool. There was these little snails all over the sidewalk, and these things are tiny. They were like, I don't know, smaller than a dime, maybe about dime size when their heads are stretched out. They were small, and there was this sidewalk near a parking lot where they were just crawling around. And I think it was because it had rained so much and they were just getting out from all the wet, saturated ground right next to the sidewalk, and they crawled up here. So I didn't really know what to do. They weren't moving around that fast, thankfully, but I didn't have a lot of time because I was on my way to work, and I didn't really have the right gear either because I like you'd need an actual macro lens to shoot a real good photo of snails like this, and you would need to do some focus stacking to get the everything everything sharp and clear that you wanted to. But you know what? It was a fun experiment to try. I'm pretty sure I shot this with my +10 filter alone. I actually tried stacking the filters, the +4 and the +10, but I think that got a little too unwieldy. This one, I believe I used just the +10, and I shot this, I think, at f8, because even at f8, when you shoot things that are this close, your depth of field is super shallow. And you can look here, there's grains of sand in the sidewalk, in the cement that makes up the sidewalk, and the depth of field is just as shallow as a couple grains of sand. This snail was really small, I'm telling you. What I couldn't do though was get my camera at the right angle because it's a big old DSLR. It was my D750, and I couldn't get it down far enough to be on eye level, so to speak, with this snail. So I ended up as low as I could go. I set my camera on the sidewalk, but I still didn't get as low as I wanted to. And I shot a few photos of this snail and another snail, but I couldn't reposition them because they tucked back into their shells, and then I couldn't just sit and wait for them to come out. So I had to use the conditions that I was given, and I'm pretty pleased with the results, but it made me wonder about what else I can do and how close I need to look for some interesting photo opportunities. Someday it'd be cool to have a macro lens and take photos like this for real instead of just using close-up filters and hoping for the best. But for now, I got a cool photo out of it and a cool experience too.